Well, welcome back everybody to the Haas playthrough in the Fire mod in Motorsport Manager. I really need to find a way to abbreviate that intro. Or it probably doesn't need to be said, does it? But you know what you're here for. It's time for round number 2 then in China. Obviously, wow, what a start we had. I have been and checked the game settings, by the way, and they still are on the same. -7 for the AI and realistic for the AI strategy, so it's nothing strange that's happened. It was just I've found since they put that option in, even the realistic mode, the AI will still do the most ridiculous things. But I guess that's something we just have to put up with. We could combat that by putting the AI level up quite considerably, so that even when they make mistakes, they can come back through. But considering our skill level in this game and how long it's taken us in certain playthroughs to get to where we want to be, I just feel that would have a negative effect over the rest of the season, really. Just for that off chance when the AI make mistakes, for it not to impact so much. So look, we're going to take the 1-2. I'm pretty happy with it. We were already on for a good result anyway, so it's not as if it was completely out of the blue. We still had to be up there, but obviously we got gifted 1st and 2nd rather than maybe taking home 5th and 7th or 6th and 7th, which is what we were sort of on target for. But of course we've got to take it all with a pinch of salt, and our car needs desperately some work. So that's what we're going to be getting on with today, and then hopefully we can get some more points in China. The idea of this season, well, the aim for the season was just to be able to score points on a regular occurrence, which I think if we can progress our car nicely over the first half of the season, is something we should be achieving from mid-season onwards. So let's take a look at the pit crew, shall we? We need a couple more on fixing. I'm not too bothered about using people that are a little bit lower skill on this, because if we're having to use people to fix the car, then we've mucked up, let's be honest. Because we shouldn't have to be repairing. I'm just going to go through quickly. I hate doing this, and I should really start doing it off screen, but I think we're okay with everybody, to be fair. They're all 11 races. I've got a feeling I did this last time. That's just 8, so we'll renew that one. 7, we'll renew that. 8, we'll renew that. 8 again. Can't renew that one for some reason. Maybe because they're burnt out. I don't know why that would impact whether we can renew their contracts, but apparently it does. And so now we don't have to worry about that for the next few races. But I'm sure I'll forget again by next race and do it again anyway. I'm just so scared with this system now of making mistakes. Now, there's something I was thinking about the other day, and that's that we always get these messages about the car being repaired. And I thought before, does it have any impact? But technically it does, because you can't start working on the car in terms of improving and reliability and performance until the parts are repaired. So I have this thing. I normally go at the end of races, I go, well, all the parts are okay, so now we can start attacking, because we know they're not going to fall into the red. But the more we take out of them, this is one part of the system that does work quite well. The more you take out of them, the more that's got to be repaired when you get back. And especially in this championship, where we don't have many days between races, it reduces the amount of days you can actually work on the car. So we need to try and maybe avoid that in future, and not push the car as hard as we can at the end of the race just because we can. It's a bit of a stupid idea, really, because it's just going to have a knock-on effect. Right, we'll keep improving the engine and the gearbox. Obviously, we've got a new... What have we got? New suspension on the way. That's not going to be ready for the next race. And that is one thing in this mod that parts do take an awful long time to build. I think that's the case in WMC as well. But I've never actually been in the WMC in the main vanilla game, because I've only just played my Let's Plays. I'm starting to play more regularly on my own now. I've started fire mod game I play off of YouTube, because I feel I need to learn some stuff on my own without, you know, being recorded constantly. And I want to enjoy the game. I love this game, but obviously every time I play it, it's for a video. So I do need to start playing it myself as well, and I'll learn some things here and there as well. Right, I think we are ready for round number 2 in Beijing then. As per usual, 654. We haven't got any new parts available, so I don't think there's going to be anything different with the car itself. At the moment, we are giving Magnussen a bit of a better cut. They still both think they've got the best car, which I find quite funny. They clearly have no idea. Someone in the team is doing a good job of smoke and mirrors, making sure they both stay happy. Anyway, right, I shall get practice underway, and as always, be back with you shortly for qualifying. Right, out into qualifying we go then, and pretty good practice session. Actually managed to get a little bit of a boost for qualifying as well by getting level 1 on both super softs and qualifying trim. Although with Magnussen we went for the mechanic trait of a wider sweet spot, so hopefully that will help us out a little bit. Setups 98% for Magnussen, 97% for Leclerc, so hopefully we can have a pretty good weekend. And it would just be nice if we can find out what our race pace is right until the end. Because obviously we didn't really get to find out last time because of the mistakes of the AI. So I'm hoping it'll be a good clean race and we'll get to find out the pace of our car. Obviously qualifying was a little bit disappointing in the first round. We were just both cars just outside the top 10. So it'll be interesting to see if that trend continues here. Once again, another trend continuing though. Leclerc quicker than Magnussen. About a 1/10.5 quicker. So Charles Leclerc looks like he's coming of age in qualifying at least. And in a season that we said it would be a straight battle between the two, and if we were going to replace one of the drivers next year, it would be the one that loses out in this fight. Leclerc showing some good early pace, but it's still only good enough for 10th place. Magnussen down in 14th, and we're not too far off those ahead. Is Kvyat still in the Toro Rosso? He is. That's a staggering result for him at the moment in P5. Stroll and Perez, obviously the Williams and the Force Indias, we're expecting to fight pretty hard this season. Mark Lowe, is that the other? Well, that's the Russian time driver up there in 11th. That's a stunning debut for their team. Why can't we ever get those kind of results with pretty much bog standard teams? I tried the creator team in this mod the other day as creating an F1 team, and it is so difficult to bring a car up from the back. Because obviously now we don't have Marussia, we don't have Caterham, we don't have cars that are right down the back of the grid. Everybody is pretty much in that midfield. And if you're swapping out with Sauber, you've got a big old gap to go to try and latch onto the midfield if you're a new team. But that may be a series I might do at some point. It would take an incredible amount of skill and help and advice from you guys to achieve it, but I like the idea of trying to create a new team in Formula 1. Might be a series we can think about doing at some point when one of the 3 I'm currently doing ends, because I don't want to do 4. That gets a bit silly. So that might be an idea for a follow-up series to whichever series finishes first, which might be none of them. They might be going again for another 2 years, we'll see. Okay, second laps to go now. Perfect on the tyres and the brake warm-ups for Leclerc. It's pretty promising to see him improve. And both drivers need to improve if we're going to get into that top 10. I'd like to see Magnussen get closer to Charles as well. So we'll see what we can do. Ocon and Stroll have improved nicely, so to get into that top 10, It's probably going to be only 10th if we can. Leclerc crosses the line. He improves to 11th. It's not enough. Magnussen goes just ahead. He does beat his teammate then. And I think that squares the qualifying up 1-1 this year. But neither of them could quite find enough time to displace Max Verstappen from 10th. Fairly happy with that. I think Stroll and Ocon, they seem to be very overpowered. I mean, Force India in general seem to be an incredibly strong team. Consistently fighting up there with the Red Bulls in this mod. Kvyat, I don't know where he found that lap from. I don't think he's ever been half a second off the pole in his life. Maybe at Red Bull. Maybe at Red Bull he might have been. And Lance Stroll, that's a great result as well. Obviously his new teammate. Someone told me how to pronounce this. I need to remember. Ayua, I'm going to say. Oyua. Let's move on. I'm sure that is part of the enjoyment of this series, is seeing me trying to pronounce names I've never heard. It's certainly part of the enjoyment for me anyway. Right, race date. We're going to go with soft tyres and race trim on both cars. Soft tyres, actually no, of course we're not. We're going to go race trim and push the limit for K-Mag, because that's the most useful thing in the world. And I think for a change, we're not going to take any fuel out with Leclerc. We're going to give us some fuel to play with. Because I'm fairly happy with the reliability of the engine and gearbox at this point. Obviously, we haven't brought in new ones yet, so there's no real change there. Now, tyres. 41 lap race. So we can't really one-stop it on the mediums like we tried at the end of last season. So it's going to be a minimum of a 2-stop. If we start on the super softs and get 10 laps out of them, it might even be a 3-stop this race. We might have to use some mediums, to be fair. I think we'll start both cars on the soft tyres. I think that's a good call. That worked out well for us last race. So I think we'll do that again. As I say, we'll keep the fuel to the maximum. So that we've got some to play with if we need to attack at different points in the race. Right, my voice has been worse than usual today. It's a lot worse than usual, so we'll try and get through this. I might have to keep pausing it and restarting it. Not that you'll see that, but I just thought I'd mention it. But we get underway then. Round number 2. Good start from Magnussen. Leclerc, sorry. And swaps places with his teammate and is challenging Ocon down into turn 1. And manages to make that move stick then. So Leclerc up to 10th. Magnussen in 12th. Now, I want to keep a closer eye on it this time, because I didn't really take much notice last time. But obviously, we're going to go back to neutral on driving style. We're going to stay on high fuel mode for the first couple of laps, though. The big difference with our recovery system, obviously, it generates a lot quicker, but we don't really get any deployment at the beginning of the race. But not too many people do, to be fair, so we don't lose out that much. Leclerc managed to sort of be in the right place at the right time there and create a roadblock. As is Daniel Ricciardo, is a little bit of a roadblock. We are going to use a little bit of boost that Leclerc's got, though, to make that move stick. And Leclerc is off into 8th place then. Ricciardo, the 2 Red Bulls really struggling here, which is quite surprising. But it's good news for us if we can get down the road and away from them. Magnussen still struggling to fight his way through here, but he does seem quicker than those around him. I was hoping that boost would find his way past Ocon, but he hasn't quite managed it. Right, Leclerc coming back under threat from the Red Bulls then. So, for whatever reason, they were just struggling for that little bit of time. But they found their pace again. And a very definite gap appearing between the top 7 and us, but they are all on super soft tyres, though, let's not forget. So that may well be the reason for that. Now, let's go back to medium fuel for the moment and recoup that fuel and maybe get a bit of an excess that we can use later on in the race. Now, I'm not too sure how the strategy is going to play out here. It depends how well our tyre wear goes. If we can hit the targets, then I think we can two-stop, but we are going to have to use a set of mediums. It will probably be soft, soft, medium, or soft, medium, soft. Safety car out. Do we go for a pit stop? Difficult to tell. It's very early. I don't see a massive amount of benefit here. Unless we try and get our way back through the field. Let's split the strategies. Let's bring Magnussen in. Let's put him on the medium tyres. Let's think about this. Mediums, 2 sets of mediums at the least is going to be 32 laps. So it's going to make it very, very difficult to do a two-stop strategy from here. It's just that little bit early. But we can give it a go, I feel. If we split the strategies, one of them will get it right, hopefully. Right, let's keep an eye on the temperatures this time. Because they always do strange things under the safety car. So let's make sure we get this right. And crucially, because we're stopping under the safety car, we've actually got back out ahead of Stroll and Ocon with Magnussen there. And that is crucial for our race. And brings us into play with some cars a lot further forward than we were. Of course, Stroll and Ocon were on the back of that group that were on the super soft tyres. It's amazing the difference between the Ferrari and Mercedes and the Williams and the Force India in terms of tyre wear. Because they're still well over 50% on those super softs. And when you compare them to us on our soft tyres, it's almost identical. They really do look after their tyres well. Right, tyre temperature's doing what we would expect this time around. They're holding their temperature with neutral. To be honest, I would expect them to drop, but at least they're not stupidly overheating. That's the main thing. Right, we're going to get some fuel back, which is good. Obviously, our energy recovery system has allowed us to build up quite a reserve. So when we get going here, we'll try and make some early moves. We'll go on to high fuel mode. Let's see where Leclerc is. He's on the back of Verstappen and Ricciardo. So let's see if we can attack down the main straight, and we'll do the same with Magnussen. So we go into turn 1 then. He does get past the pair. Actually, no, Ricciardo and Verstappen have got past Raikkonen. Raikkonen battling hard with them. Aua gets back past. Magnussen has dropped back terribly. So he's now dropped behind Stroll, Ocon, Alonso and Giotto, which is not good news for him. Tyre temperatures struggling to come up really. So let's go to push and try and bring them back up. I don't know that we're going to be able to two-stop with Magnussen. It was a very early stop. That's the only problem. But we're in the same boat as Stroll and Ocon. So we'll keep an eye on what kind of strategies they're doing. Let's go back down to speed, as we're now not under the safety car. Yeah, we've essentially put ourselves on the same strategy as Stroll and Ocon now. Obviously they were on the super softs early on and had to pit early. So we'll keep an eye on them and see if we can come back through the field with the pair of them. Leclerc coming under some pressure now from Kvyat and Gasly then. The two Toro Rosso cars. And there goes Hulkenberg past as well. Leclerc is starting to run out of tyres now. But he's definitely taken himself far enough to make the two-stop. Very possible now. Right, we're going to have to bring him in this time around. And yeah, I think we're going to have to go with mediums, see how far we can take them If we can take them far enough comfortably, then we can do a two-stop going on to the soft tyres for the final stint. If it's not comfortable, we can always put the mediums on again. But obviously the safety cars helped a little bit early on, and the fuel will burn off. So that won't be such an issue later on, hopefully. It's very difficult to read this race. When we have a safety car, it's very difficult to tell where everybody is. We just have to stick to our strategies and hope we're on the right one. My voice is really not very well today. I always feel I talk too much in these, but today I'm really paying for it. Right, let's go back to neutral with Magnussen. He needs to get as far as most distance as he can out of those mediums. So pushing has obviously brought them back up to temperature, but they're overheating a little bit now. Still got plenty of fuel to play with, so we'll keep pushing for the moment. Engine will be a concern for Leclerc, but it's okay at the moment. He's just been overtaken by Van Dorn, so we'll try and get that place back with a bit of boost. Thank you very much. There we go. Surprising that Van Dorn is able to fight us, to be fair. So Magnussen's now back up to 9th. Everybody's sort of out of sync at the moment. Sebastian Vettel has, well, he's in the garage, so we don't know what happened to him. Presume a car issue. He's not one to often stick it in the wall. He saves that for practice mostly. Although he hasn't really done that with Ferrari much. It was his specialty at Red Bull. He would always make sure that he found the edge in practice by crashing, and then he wouldn't hit that mark for the rest of the weekend. Right, Magnussen fighting hard with Bottas here. Bottas finally making his first stop. I don't know that it's that wise to re-overtake him with the boost, but we had quite a bit of it to use, so I don't see why not. I think we've got to be confident enough to think we can fight Mercedes. Why not? We're not going to be one of those teams that just rolls over and lets them... There he goes. But anyway, we might have had a chance. You never know. So, the people that we were mirroring the strategy of, Ocon and Stroll, are still out there on the mediums. We've got a little bit more life left than them. Bottas has now made his way past the pair of them. So we're in this little group with Ocon, Stroll and Magnussen, which if we're on the right strategy, then we're quids in, or we're all on the wrong strategy. It really depends on how far these mediums go. Because, I mean, 16 to 18 laps. To make this a two-stop, we need to do another 10 laps almost. 8 or 9 laps. Which I don't think we're going to do, so I think we're going to have to free-stop Magnussen. We may as well make that decision sooner rather than later, because if we're going to free stop, we've got more life available to us, and we can probably do that on the soft tyres. Maybe even one stint on the super softs right at the end. So I say we come in sooner rather than later. Let's put those softs on now. Engine looking a little worse for wear on both cars. We're not even at the halfway point yet, so maybe dial the fuel back a little bit for the moment. It'd be interesting to see where Magnussen comes out here. He needs some fresh air on these soft tyres. Is he going to get some? No. He's going to come back out right in the middle of some dreadful traffic. Not quite sure what Magnussen said there. But, I'm sure he was super happy with coming back out in a bunch of traffic. Right, maybe we will go back up to high fuel mode then. And I don't really want to push, but we have got some boost to use if we can use it in the right place. So we need to get past Alonso, Leclerc and Van Dorn really. Leclerc struggling here with Alonso, with Van Dorn. Actually, they're the other way around. Magnussen needs to get past Alonso, Leclerc needs to get past Van Dorn. The last thing we want today is getting stuck behind two McLarens. So let's maybe use it out of this corner, and that should be enough, yeah, to get him past nicely down the main straight. Oh, Alonso coming back. Don't do this again, you wily old fox. Oh, it's Van Dorn. Be a young fox. What's a young fox called? Cub? No idea. Right. Magnussen's still struggling to get past Alonso as well. Oh, we can use that little bit of boost now while he's alongside. Just make sure that move does get done and he's passed. He's got Raikkonen just ahead of him. I'm pretty sure Raikkonen will be on a free stop as well here. So if we can follow Raikkonen through, that'll be good. We've got good pace here. That's the good thing. Now, I don't think Ocon and Stroll are going to be able to stay out till the end. So I think everybody now is in the situation where they've got to stop once more, at least. So this is probably whereabouts we are, 11th and 14th. So the strategy's not really worked out for Magnussen, unfortunately. He really needs to get past these guys. He's just being held up by Van Dorn. Damn McLarens. Will they just stop and get transferred to Renault engines, please? See if we can get him onto the back down the main straight. Is that enough? Go on. Oh, K-Mag, you've got to make the move. Get it done. Oh no, we've got Alonso with the boost behind. Have we got enough to push? 18 laps. We just need about another 6 laps out of these tyres. I don't really want to push on them. I want to make sure we get the distance out. Because if we can get the distance out of them, we might be able to go on the super softs for the final stint, which might be pretty useful. So let's go back to medium. Right, we've got a bunch of fuel to use for Leclerc. We've let that pile up a little bit too much. I'm a little worried about his engine. And this is why we normally take fuel out, Jay. We know this. I don't think our engine is quite good enough in terms of reliability to make this work the same way that Magnussen can. So it does give us a couple laps of overtake if we need it. But as I said, I want to avoid taking as much of the engine out or any of these parts out as I can, because it seems kind of counterproductive. Right, we're really not getting the distance out of these tyres today. We're not looking after them very well. We're overheating those mediums. 16 laps to go. He's already got 13 out of the softs. I think we'll probably have to be safe and go for the mediums. But considering he's only got 13 out of them already, obviously he is being very aggressive on them. We'll try and get another couple of laps and then we'll go on to the mediums, I think. Give us a more consistent base for the final stint. He's in a good position, Leclerc. I think everyone around him has got to make another stop, so I think he's genuinely in the points at the moment. Magnussen is going to have to work a little bit harder. He's still... Is he at the front of that queue or is he still stuck behind? I think he's finally got past. No, Van Dorn's pitted, that's why. I was going to say, I don't think he was actually going to pass the McLaren today at all. Right, let's go to high fuel mode for him. And use his boost down this straight. Leclerc can probably get one more lap in here. So let's bring him in this time around. Now, 14 laps on the softs. It will be 13 after this. I'm sure we can manage that. Yeah, I'm sure we can. Just make sure we look after them properly. He's got the fuel to make up for it as well. If we have to keep it on neutral, we have to keep it on neutral really at the end of the day. And Magnussen, another couple of laps and he might be able to go for the super softs. That's the plan. But we'll have to wait and see. Leclerc, ever the rookie. I'm struggling to pass Raikkonen. He's really not our problem today, Charles. Don't worry about Kimi Räikkönen. Right, Leclerc comes back out. Good stop. Neutral. We've got a lot of retirements today, which is helping us out. Lewis Hamilton is out now as well. I wonder if there's ever been a Grand Prix where Hamilton and Vettel have retired. That's stupid. Of course they have. They must have done. Yeah, I'm sure that must have happened. I meant maybe car failures, but they probably weren't car failures. Anyway, let's get on with it, shall we? Right, engine pretty low on both cars now, and we've got plenty of excess fuel, so this is going to get a bit nail biting. Magnussen, we've probably left it too late, and I don't think he can do this on the super softs. He's done 11 laps on the softs, so it's going to have to be super softs. Can't really fix that engine, it's going to take far too long, so we'll have to go soft tyres till the end and just make sure we look after them. Magnussen, I'm happy to keep pushing. I know what I said about having to repair these parts, but you know, he hasn't got a red zone for that reason. When we need to, we can. Was there a slight mistake there? Yep, cold, 2.1 seconds. And Magnussen comes back out in 13th place then. Not too bad, not too shabby at all, considering there's some more stops to be made here. So we just need to keep an eye on those temperatures. It's the engine on Leclerc that worries me at the moment. Excuse me. Yeah. Hopefully he'll be alright. If we have to turn it down because of to save the engine with a little bit of excess fuel, you'll forgive me for once, won't you guys? Please. As long as he gets some points. I think he's going to get some decent points here, you know. We got Räikkönen and Hülkenberg have definitely got to stop. Verstappen may do as well. Right, Räikkönen and Hülkenberg in now. We passed the pair of them with Leclerc, and Magnussen comes back out on the back of Kimi Räikkönen. So some points available for Magnussen, and Leclerc needs to try and hold on to this 7th place now. The good news for Leclerc is we've got Gasly and Van Dorn. Well, there goes Van Dorn, Räikkönen straight past. We've got Gasly to hold Räikkönen up, and hopefully by the time Räikkönen gets to us, he would have taken quite a considerable amount of time out of his tyres. Engine not looking good. We haven't had one of these for a while. We're just going to have to hope. There's no point in pitting. There's no way we'd get back into the points. So we're just going to have to hope. Got some boost to use there. That's probably not good for the engine, but anyway. Oh, excuse me. Not a good day. There's a lot of coughs and splutters today. Sorry about that. I'm not actually feeling ill. It's just my throat is weird. Anyway. So Magnussen's actually passed Van Dorn. That's got him back into the points. So he's now in 10th. So if Leclerc does go bang, we've got at least 9th guaranteed. I can't see any major threat from behind. Verstappen has just pitted, so he's come back out. So Leclerc has got some serious defending to do now with a terrible engine and excess fuel. Apart from that, Charles, I mean, that's what you're being paid for, buddy. No problem at all. You're in with a great shot here today. Right, it's 5 laps left. Tyres worry me a little bit on Leclerc as well. Magnussen, we should be okay with the tyres. But again, I'm just going to keep them in good stead. We so often go far too aggressive in this because we're like, oh, we've got all this fuel left. Oh, we've got all these tyres left. But at the end of the day, you're probably just better off going off on a similar pace than you were before. Right. Räikkönen, Verstappen getting close now. Räikkönen, as I thought, is hitting a brick wall of Gasly. So he doesn't look a threat for the moment. This is all going to close up though, especially if Leclerc starts defending. Luckily, Verstappen has issues as well, so this might help us out here. Kimi Raikkonen really struggling to get past Gasly, so this is a good opportunity for Magnussen now. Again, I want to look after these tyres, just in case. Right, let's use that boost down the main straight, see if we can get him close to this battling pair before Raikkonen gets past. Leclerc is now coming under some serious pressure. We're down to 6% on the engine. Do we just go hell for leather and go high fuel mode? We've got so much fuel to use. We could even go overtake for the last lap. We'll see how it goes. If it looks like he's going to lose this position, then we might have to go to overtake mode and try and save it. But then that might be a bit overreacting. His tyres aren't looking good either. We're going to have to go conserve on the tyres and balance that with the fuel. Valtteri Bottas, who has had an absolute dominant afternoon after Hamilton and Vettel retiring, is on his final lap now. Leclerc going on to his final lap now. And Verstappen is nowhere. Magnussen now right on the back of Raikkonen. He's passed. Magnussen up into 9th. Let's go back to normal speed. There's some problems for Gasly as well. Come on, Kev. You can do this. Haven't got much fuel to use. I think your tyres are okay if we push. A little bit of boost. Not quite enough to get him up the inside. Leclerc coming under pressure from Verstappen is going to use his boost. We're going to defend. Oh, he holds him off. Leclerc takes 6th. Magnussen unfortunately can't get past Gasly. I'm over the moon that he's beaten Raikkonen there. And that is as good a race as we've had. Honestly, the last race we were gifted first and second, let's be honest, and we were having a good race up until then. But we've raced to some great points there. I think we've managed the race really well. Both Magnussen and Leclerc have done a stellar job. I mean, Leclerc, his engine was in tatters, and he somehow managed to come home ahead of Verstappen. Verstappen has gone down another place. Has he had a penalty? Max Verstappen, 10-second time penalty. I wonder who he overtook today over the inside of a curb. Oh, great. Twitter's going to be a mock today. But that helps us out even more then. That means that Magnussen actually finishes 8th and gets 4 points instead of 2. And Leclerc is 6th then. Brilliant. What a race. I don't think that could have gone better. And interesting as well. 2 and 3 stop strategies, and in the end about 5 seconds between our two drivers. But I do feel Leclerc would have been further down the road if his engine hadn't have started struggling. So Bottas now takes the lead of the Drivers' Championship. Obviously taking advantage of Vettel and Hamilton not finishing. Lucas Awa is now up to 4th in his debut season in Formula 1. Great start for him. Great start for Williams in general. They're scoring some good points. And are definitely going to be a threat for what I think will be a fight for sort of 3rd or 4th place. Ferrari have been incredibly unlucky. They've had 2 retirements, I think, from Vettel. And Raikkonen's not really on form anyway. So I'd expect to see them come back up the field. But we're still leading the championship. But let's be honest here. This is not going to continue for long. We're aiming for 4th spot here, I think. Obviously our target is 6th, I think it was, with the chairman. I'll just wait till we get back to the menu to confirm that, but I'm pretty sure we said 6th. If not, I was mad if I said 4th. Yeah, we expected 6th, so we're nicely on target. Some big improvements from Leclerc, some small ones from Magnussen, and a little bit for Ferrucci. It's a horrible thing to say, but I do kind of wish we maybe get an injury for one of our drivers at some point. Because I'd like to put Ferrucci in for a race or 2, just to get him some experience that he desperately needs. Alright, bank balance back up into the positive. That's the other thing. We're making money hand over fist this year. But let's not forget, we need to start saving again at some point. And that reminds me, before we finish, finances, what are we putting into next year's car? Medium. I feel we're making good money at the moment, so let's put some into next year's car, and it takes away my need to sort of micromanage this budget more if we're putting more in for next year. So I think that's a good idea. But yeah, I think we can fight for fourth this year. I think this good start has really helped us. I would expect Ferrari to come back through and join Mercedes up top, but it's going to be a real fight, I feel, between ourselves, Williams, Red Bull, and possibly Force India for third, fourth, and fifth. So it's a good start. That was much more where I think we're going to be this season. Obviously, again, some reliability issues throughout the field. Again, our car is apparently the worst on the grid. I don't believe this at all anymore. It really does skew things a bit. Especially when we put so much money into our car at the beginning of the season. I don't think that's reflected in those stats. But anyway, we shall end here for today because it's been a bit of a long one, I'm sure. I hope you enjoyed the episode. Keep your help and advice flowing in. It means a lot and helps me along because I am only a humble Motorsport Manager player. But we are leading the constructors with Haas somehow. But yeah, on to Dubai next time, and I'm sure we'll have another good fight for some regular points, which is what we're really aiming for now, and keep moving that car forward. If you're new to the channel, you can always subscribe and go back and check out the other Motorsport Manager series if you haven't watched them already. You can hit that like button if you did enjoy the video. We've been hitting over 10 likes every single video for the last few, and most of them for the series as well, which is another first for the channel. So I really appreciate that, and keep showing your love and support. It means the world. So until next time, everybody, thank you for watching, and I'll see you again next time.